Hi everyone, it's Anne here from Positively Papercraft, and I'm back with another tutorial. A little bit different today. I'm doing a voiceover, so I hope you don't mind that. And what we're going to do is another flower project. So I came up with this kind of flower card, like a garden card. So I've got a piece of thick card, and it measures 8¼ by 10½ inches. I'm scoring the short side at 1½ on each end, and now I am scoring the long side at 7 inches and 8½ inches. Okay. And then I'm just going to fold and burnish it, and then I'm just snipping away in those little squares there, just to create 2 little tabs for our card. And then I'm just showing you there how it's gonna fold up and glue together. It's really simple to do, but I think it looks really nice when it's done. And I'm also just rounding the 2 corners there. It just gives it a bit of a better finish, I think, really, if you round the 2 corners. And then what I did was I took a piece of brown card, and it was 6¾ by 5 inches, and I ran it through a brick embossing folder, and I am just going to use that as my background. And I took some vintage photo distress ink, which you can see there, and I just dab little bits on the bricks just to give it a bit more of an aged effect. So I've got some patterned paper here, and I'm just attaching it to the card. Those bits you see is putting on there now, the skinny bits, you need 4 of them, and they are 1¼ inches by 6¾ and obviously I've just rounded the edges of them on the ends to match. And then 6¾ by 5 is for that fancy back panel, but you don't have to put any on the back if you don't want to. And then I've got a small little piece which is 5 by 1¾ and that just goes on the front of the card. And then I'm just gluing the little tabs together. You will also need a piece of dry OASIS foam, which is just to, you know, glue your little flowers and stems and things in. Okay, so that's that, ready to do our flowers and stuff. So I've got the dry OASIS there and what I did was I just started to glue the flowers and things in before we actually glue it into the card. And I've just got a selection of paper, foam, silk, whatever you have, and that is a cute little die, a die that I've got, which is like a little fence, a little picket fence. And again, I just dabbed it with some distress ink, vintage photo, to give it a bit more of an aged look. And I'll try and put the link for that. I'm sure it's from Surprise Creations store on AliExpress. And then I'm just hot gluing some flowers in and just kind of building up an arrangement. because the look I wanted to go for was like a kind of little mini garden, and there are just die cuts that I've cut from green card. So as you can see, I've just glued quite a few in there now, and I'm just adding more to give it the kind of look that I want. And then I'm just popping it in now and again and just testing that I'm happy with how it looks. I do also have quite a large ivy die, which is from Paper Discovery Olga. It's her new conservatory dies. I believe the large ivy that I glue on the back in a minute was from there. So you can actually glue, like, there it is there that I'm using. You can actually glue, you know, leaves and foliage or whatever on the back, I suppose, to look like it's kind of climbing up a wall, which was the kind of look that I wanted. So then I've just put hot glue on the bottom, and I'm just pressing it down to make sure it glues into the base of the card, and it does stand up really well. And then you can put a white piece of card on the back to write a message or whatever, which I think I do that in a minute. And then here I'm just heat embossing a sentiment with gold powder, because I want to put that on the front of the card. So I'm just using Versamark and gold powder to heat emboss it. And then I'm just heat setting that with my heat gun. And I think that turned out really pretty. And then I'm just popping some foam pads on the back just to, you know, stick it on the card and give it a little bit of dimension. And then I also ink around the edges of the sentiment, again with the vintage photo distress ink, just so it didn't, you know, like kind of blend in with the card. I'm really happy with how this turned out. And that is a piece that I've cut out for the back, which, as I said before, you could write a little sentiment or something, or stamp a verse or whatever you want. I just cut that from a layer and die, and just with white cardstock, and glued that on the back. And then the last thing was I just put 3 little silver embellishments just on the front of the card. And as you'll know, I've done, I think this is probably the 3rd flower kind of tutorial I've done this week, and the feedback I've got, people have enjoyed it. And I know we have lots of flowers and sometimes we just don't know what to do with them, so I hope I've given you some ideas of how you can use them. I mean, I love flowers, I always have, and I just get so much enjoyment out of making projects like this. So I really hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you'll give it a try. It's really simple, and I think it just makes an absolutely beautiful display card. So pretty, and I'm sure whoever you give it to will absolutely love it. So that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll be back again soon, and please remember to subscribe to my channel.